Everyone, so the Dallas Mavericks are on a free fall right now. They have been an absolute dumpster fire lately. They are now completely out of the playoffs, although they are tied right now for the potential 10th seed and still only a game out of 7. So there is still time for them to pick it up and get it back together. But they are on a 3-game losing streak. They've just lost 2 straight games back-to-back against the Charlotte Hornets, and it's not looking good, right? I mean, this team just does not look like they have it right now, and they just look in just an absolute mess, right? Kyrie isn't playing great with Luka. They're still trying to figure it out. Luka, he had a monster game in this game, but still, it seems like Luka is checked out at times, right? You even saw his presser where he said, he's just not happy anymore. He's not having fun anymore. He's not smiling anymore. And a lot of people are putting that on Kyrie. I've seen, I don't think it's fair to blame Kyrie solely. Doesn't really seem to be working, and maybe there are parts of, the Kyrie marriage that's not working. But, I mean, they've won more games with Kyrie than they have with Kyrie and Luka. Like, Kyrie's been great for them in spots and in stretches and without Luka, right? He's a guy that is closing out games in the fourth quarter, all that stuff. They just need to figure it out because it's a lot of you go, I go, you go, I go. And that's the problem with just such a ball-dominant Luka, right? Luka is one of the highest usage-rated players we've ever seen. And that was always a big question, is like, could another superstar play alongside Luka with him being just such a huge ball dominant player, right? Is a star player able to come to Dallas and make it work, right? Now, somebody like a Kevin Durant, I think would be perfect, because the beauty of KD is he doesn't need 25 shots to go get you 20 plus points, right? He is so efficient, so effective, one of the greatest scorers and shooters we have ever seen. But Kyrie, in a lot of ways, he needs the ball. He needs to cook. He needs to go to work. Like, he can play off the ball, yes, at times, but you want the ball in his hands to make plays, to go get buckets, to set guys up, all of those things, right? And Luka, when he has the ball, you see at times Kyrie's just kind of standing off, right? When you have another star, he should always be in the mix. So instead of them playing off of each other, it's like they're playing individually, right? It's like, when I'm on the court, it's that. So either A, you have to have those two guys make it work, or B, you're going to have to kind of scatter them, where like they're almost never on the court together. But that's also a near impossible task, right? Because you have to have Kyrie and Luka play minutes together, right? Whether it's starting the game, whether it's, ending the game, you can't just have one on the court, not the other. The other thing is that Dallas already wasn't a very good defensive team, and they got rid of their best perimeter defender, right? Like, that was a real problem. So now they can't stop anybody. They're terrible defensively. And then on top of that, you don't have your 2 stars that are working and meshing well together. And then on top of that, you're in this like just funk that I don't really necessarily see Dallas getting out of. They're just in this like rock and a hard place right now. And could they still make the playoffs? Yeah, sure. But are they winning anything this year? No. Now, I've said this before. I don't think the Kyrie trade was necessarily for this year, right? Because the Kyrie trade did multiple things. One, what it did is it got them another star to appease Luka and, show, oh, hey, we're serious. We're trying to get you help. There was all the talks about Luka needs help. He needs another star. People are making murals and all kinds of stuff, right? Well, here you go. Here's your star. The second thing it did is, if it doesn't work, right, what you did is you cleared a full max contract. So now you can potentially go get a different star that maybe becomes available that fits better, or maybe work something out to go make a deal, or flip Kyrie in the offseason and sign and trade, right? Like, would the Lakers still take Kyrie? Probably. What could you get from them, right? With the Lakers, could you get both picks and, say, D'Lo, something like that, where D'Lo, he's not as dominant. He's been playing off the ball great this year for the Lakers. Somebody like that, and then maybe you could take those picks and some pieces and flip those to go get another star or something, right? That's what the Dallas Mavericks should be looking for. Something like that, right? Get a nice complementary role piece, maybe get some assets, and then use those assets to then go get another piece, right? And then you'd still maybe have some salary to go and sign some pieces, right? That, or you keep Kyrie and you start rounding out the roster, right? Because again, I don't think that the Kyrie deal was for this year to go win a championship. We saw this with Atlanta, right? Atlanta made the Eastern Conference Finals, and it was probably the worst thing that could have happened to Atlanta because they thought that they were closer than they really were and decided to push their chips to the table to go make a move, and it's been a disaster. Dallas is kind of in the same boat, right? Made the Western Conference Finals, and that might have been the worst thing that happened to them because they believed that they were there, they believed that they were ready, and they really weren't. And now you're seeing that issue. And Luka, he's got to get his mind right. He's got to get his mental right. He's got to be better. And he's going to have to make adjustments too. That's the problem, is that he hasn't really made the adjustments to a level of bringing in another star, right? You're still seeing Luka dominate the ball a lot. Problem is he's not very good off the ball yet. That doesn't mean he can't be at some point. But Jason Kidd's got to figure out how to get through to Luka, how to make this work, how to make this mesh. And then same thing with Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's got to get his star bought in. He's got to get him, believing again. He's got to get him willing to sacrifice. Because even if it's not Kyrie, this issue is still very likely going to be an issue if they go get another star. Name me a star outside of KD that could work well with Luka. I don't think there is one. Maybe a Devin Booker, right? But he still needs the ball. Trae Young isn't going to help, right? He still needs the ball. He's, ball dominant in and of himself. If you went and got maybe an Anthony Davis, where you could just where you have AD down low and you could kind of just lob it to him and stuff like that. Maybe, but in general, I don't like a Giannis and Embiid, any superstar is probably not going to work with Luka. And any mid-tier star, there's just very few that I can see working with Luka. I don't think it's so much just Kyrie. Because Kyrie has been brilliant for them on numerous occasions. And Luka is still Luka. Don't get me wrong. Luka is still an incredible talent. Top 5 guy in the league. But he's a very specific player. Right? And he's played a very specific way his whole life, including coming to the NBA. So you either need Luka and a bunch of star mid-tier guys, 3-and-D style, or you need a Kevin Durant type star, right? If you put Luka on Toronto, I think Toronto might be one of, if not the best teams in the league, right? Because they got a bunch of just 6'8", 6'9", size wing 3-and-D guys, and Luka could just ball dominate and just kick it to the open shooters, and they could hit shots, and they could play defense and cover up for Luka, and they'd have the size and the length and everything to challenge everybody. Right? They just don't have that guy to put it together, and they don't have that real superstar, that guy that can just take over games. Luka could do that. So, in my opinion, I think Dallas needs to build a team similar to that, right? Have Luka and a bunch of versatile 3-and-D guys, kind of like what got them to the Western Conference, right? And you just hope that these guys can shoot well enough for you to win a championship or two. That's kind of what it is. The problem is primarily just Luka. You have to find the right pieces to mesh around Luka, and it's not working. And they're falling apart, and what's going to happen in the offseason? Does Kyrie even want to stay, especially if they don't make the playoffs? Does Luka at some point, does he demand a trade? Does he say, I want out? And then if so, teams will absolutely line up to trade for him. Without a doubt. But would those teams ever have success with Luka? That's a real question because of the way he plays. He's just overly ball dominant. We've seen guys like LeBron is very ball dominant, but he's also one of the highest IQ players, likes to set guys up, can control and dictate a game. Luka doesn't control and dictate games enough yet, right? It's almost one-dimensional, if that makes sense. But anyway, they need to figure it out. They are an absolute mess right now, and hopefully they can, right? Because I love watching Luka. I love watching Kyrie play. This was a concern as soon as they did the trade. Everyone was like, I don't know if this is going to work. I mean, I made a video about it that I was like, I don't think this is going to work. I think that this is going to be, can Luka figure it out? Luka's going to have to make the changes. He's going to have to make the sacrifices. He can still go get you 25 a game, but him going for 40 a night, it's very likely killing his team more than it's helping his team. And they need defense. They need to go get guys that can defend and just, they got to figure it out. They really do. But anyway, what are your thoughts and opinions? I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. Do you think that they're done? Do you think that they'll turn it around? They're still right there. They got to get back. I don't see them making the playoffs, but I see them being a play-in team, which then could give them an opportunity to make the playoffs. But, I mean, if they're the 9th, 10th seed, I think they're done. And then what happens in the offseason? There's a lot of interesting questions on the horizon. But, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. However you feel, let me know down in the comments below.